Shalom Yashrala, that's your brother Dawud coming back at you with the say truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and our will. And citation, much love for you, I can push this truth as sincerity over the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So we'll jump to this here article real quick. It says, U.S. must stop encouraging war in Ukraine, Lula says. All right, now this is a sentiment that's been pushed out from a couple of these world leaders, mainly China. All right, they've been saying these things and spreading, awareness to the hypocrisy of America. All right, and saying they want a peace, saying they want the calm and everything. But it's like, how are you, for peace, for humanitarian aid, for calmness, but yet you're the ones that's arming the conflict. All right, this is like, you saying that, you want to put a fire out. You call the fire department. The fire department show up and start spraying gasoline on the firemen. All right, they ain't there to put out the firemen, or you don't put out a fire that way. But this is what you have going on. But now the sentiment is starting to spread to these other world leaders. So now America is being exposed for who she really is. It says the Brazilian leader delivers a comment as he concluded a state visit to China. It says the United States and its allies should focus on promoting peace instead of fueling the Ukraine conflict by arming Kiev. Brazilian President Lula De Silva said on Saturday as he concluded a state visit to China, his country's primary trading partner. And as you see, the disdain for America is growing amongst these other nations, all right? But their alliances with one another are becoming stronger and stronger. So we already know how this all plays out. But what we're watching as Habakkuk 2 and 3 speak about, the vision being yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Right now you're starting to watch it speak. All right. Right now, you're starting to see these things, speak out as far as, coming to pass right before your eyes, man. All right. In your everyday news articles. All right. It says the United States needs to stop encouraging war and start talking about peace. And this is just a rarity in itself. The fact that any nation would start off a sentence with the United States needs to do anything. Right. This is something new, where you starting to hear these other nations talk about the United States needs to do something, right? You only had a couple countries that, you can see them saying that, which would be like North Korea and Iran would probably be about the only nations that would say something like that at that point in time. All right, but now you're starting to see a lot more of these nations voice their real opinions. Even America's allies just did a video not too long ago about that, what's going on over there in France, all right, and some of these other European nations as well, the Czech Republic, all right. So nevertheless, hey, this is a growing sentiment amongst, America's allies, not just them, but just the rest of these nations around the globe, man. All right. They're tired of America spoiling everybody else's goods, man. All right. They're tired of America being that bully on the earth, man. All right. The hammer of the whole earth, man. Beating everybody, with this continual strokes, man. It says the United States needs to stop encouraging war and start talking about peace, Lula told reporters in Beijing. The European Union needs to start talking about peace. All right, so hey, he mentioned the horror of Babylon and also the beast that it rides upon. All right, hey, y'all got to say something too, right? It says he added that doing so, world leaders might be able to convince both Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian counterpart Vladimir Zelensky that peace is in the interest of the whole world. And in reality, this conflict has done what? It just, not to say destabilized Ukraine, it was already destabilized. All right, but it weakened the global economy, all right, and weakened global trade, which is a good thing, depending on the perspective that you're looking at. All right, we want to be delivered up out of here, so we know the quicker that this shit come to pass, the quicker we get up out of here. But and Esau's mind, this is also a good thing because this is pushing him towards what, the MOTB, all right, being able to implement fully, all right. But nevertheless, as far as the rest of these people and the oppression of your everyday people, man, they're not with this, man. All right. It says, in contrast to many Western nations, neither Brazil nor China has imposed sanctions on Moscow following the onset of the conflict in Ukraine last year. Prior to the trip, Lula, the left-wing leader who returned as Brazilian president after succeeding Jair Bolsonaro at the start of the year, had sought to position himself as part of the group that could mediate in the conflict. He did not, however, elaborate on the nature of any such talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping following their meeting on Friday. CNN reported earlier this week that Beijing had requested the removal of issues surrounding Ukraine from the list of the topics to be discussed by the two leaders. It says it is important to have patience, Lula suggested on Saturday, but above all, it is necessary to convince the countries that are supplying weapons, encouraging the war to stop. All right, and this is the hypocrisy and the contradictory of America and their their words versus their actions. All right, they talking about they want peace and everything else over here, and they just want peace, and Russia's the aggressor, and Russia's causing destabilization amongst the globe. Well, it was America that put the sanctions on Russia. It was America that stopped the trade and the energy transference of the natural gas into Europe. All right, it was America that's leading the charge to arming Ukraine and sending all this here aid and money over into a corrupt country like Ukraine for their own benefit. So, hey, Russia's just reacting to these things, but you was the one that started all this stuff, man. All right, so hey, this is what you have going on. All right, it's it says China has been a key trading partner for Brazil since 2009, and in 2022 alone, Beijing imported close to 90 billion worth of Brazilian commodities such as soy, iron ore, and petrol. Brazil is the largest single market of Chinese products on the South American continent. Lula comments on Ukraine, as well as the strengthening economic ties with Beijing, are likely to draw attention of Washington, with whom Brasilia has sought a closer relationship under his rule. In February, he met with U.S. President Joe Biden in the White House, where the primary discussion efforts to combat climate change and to combat anti-democratic extremism. All right, so the point here was the fact that the matter that these nations are starting to, see America for what they really are, and not just that, are starting to call them out. Let's actually grab that first. Grab this real quick because this is also something that's happening. They're not speaking about militarily, but let me just I want to get this in verse 10, but first Joel 3:9, it says, "Proclaim me this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up." Right now, you don't really see this in this here article, speaking of militarily, but you also have military drills and joint military drills going on behind the scenes, man. All right, a lot of that is being headed by Russia. Verse 10, it says, "Beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks and the spears." All right, and again, dealing with weaponry, but not just that, strengthening their alliances with stronger allies, right? This is also part of that as well. You've seen a lot more nations getting in pacts with Russia, getting in pacts with China, because when shit start hitting the fan, you got to choose a side to be on. You going to be on the American side, or you going to be on the Russian side, man. All right, or you going to be in the middle and trying to fend for yourself with that bullshit. But hey, you better choose a side. But the point here was, let the weak say I am strong. Not only are they strengthening themselves militarily, but you start to see the posture. Hey, you have people sing a different tone when they have that sword on them, man. All right, you may have somebody that ain't got no sword on them, no gun on them, or something like that, and they just trying to get the fuck up out of there, man. All right, get up out of there alive. But there's somebody else with a sword on them or something like that. Some shit might be going down around. Hey, bro, you might want to just back the fuck up off me, bro. I ain't with the bullshit today. You know what I'm saying? All right, you wanted the shit now. They stand up and then they come over. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that they got that sword on them. So people act a little different that way, right? They more willing to say certain types of things when they know they got something on them, right? Same thing that's going on over here. These other nations calling them out. Because again, think back to what would have happened back in the olden days. You would have called America out for certain things. They put sanctions on you, man. All right. They wound up going to war with you. They wound up destabilizing your economy, man. All right. But what? These nations have the backing of what? Russia and China, and they're saying these things, in their face. All right. Let me go back to let me grab this. Well, we'll just grab this instead. Oops. This is Isaiah 14. And matter of fact, let me go up a little bit. I think I quoted this a little earlier, but let me just read a little bit of this because the point I wanted to grab was in verse 6, but I did quote a little bit of this. Isaiah 14 and 4, it says, "And thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased and the golden city ceased?" And a lot of it, you can read about that in Job, about how his own schemes is part of his downfall. Some of your own doing is bringing you down. Some of your treatment of, hey, you can, treat somebody a certain type of way to force them to do something a little different. Employers can force their employees to pretty much quit, by, treating them certain types of ways, dropping their hours on the clock to where they like, hey, bro, you only got like 2 hours this week, 4 hours this week. Then they eventually quit, certain things like that, man. So, hey, this is what you also have going on, man. These nations are being forced to, defend themselves against the oppression of Babylon the Great. But and this time they're gonna all band together. Before it was, Babylon one on one with all these other nations. You know what I'm saying? Well, Babylon their conglomeration, but now, as how they say, it's me against the world. Well, it's the world against the United States at this here point in time, right about now, man. All right, and it's all because of their own doings. All right, so this is how the golden city is ceasing. It says, Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. All right, now what you have going on is, like scriptures speak about, the Lord is in the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Hey, now he's also not just that, then shall that wicked be revealed. All right, but the Lord is moving these world leaders in such a way that now there's how you say, it's sobering up from that Babylonian juice, man. They're starting to wake up and do what's best for their people, man. All right, it says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. All right, and so this is going to be going into the part of the fact of, hey, nobody's going to how do I say, nobody's going to try to stop your downfall, man. Nobody's coming to your aid because of how you treated all these people. But now you're starting to see the sentiment of these things, man. All right, hey, they calling you out for all your, hey, bro, how you going to talk about you won peace, but you the ones over there sending weapons over there, man. All right, but the point was, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, all right, out of his anger. All right, now you're being called out about all these different things, right? Let's jump on down to we can read this as well too. Verse 9, hell from beneath is moved to meet thee at thy coming, and stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And this is how America get their foothold into these places, man, by putting propping up or overthrowing the governments and putting their own puppets up into their place. Now, you do have some talks about what's going to happen once this here conflict is over, and what's going to happen to Vladimir Zelensky. All right, and there's talks about how there's going to be, there's a possibility for another maiden coup because of the people want the rights that they were so-called promised, man. You can't forget that, it's more than just you putting up one puppet over there and you got everything. But you still have to worry about the population of the people trying to come up against you. Yeah, you got your little puppet over there. You got your little war going on over there and everything else like that. But what is going to happen if the people decide, if you don't have the propaganda all up in their minds and they decide they want to fuck fighting Russia, we finna fight the Ukrainian government. Then you've lost everything. You lost a propaganda war. All right, you actually lost the war on the ground. You've been exposed for putting your puppet up over there. Like, we didn't want this shit, man. And Russia ain't in the wrong for coming over here trying to save us. That would, you'd have to really save face. That would be a real bad thing for, America and their image. But hey, this is what they do. They deal in what they call regime change. But it looks like, once this here thing is over, they was talking about how Zelensky might have to live in exile. They might kill the man or whatever, but it's going to cause a vacuum into that land to where, hey, the people going to want what they was promised, which, goes along with the Russian side anyway. All right, because Russia was just trying to give them their little, their little liberty that they was asking for. All right, but hey, people don't really care about that. They just care about what the media sentiment is. All right, but hey, this is what America engages in, is what you call regime change, overthrowing governments. All right, jump down to verse 16, because this is the point that these nations are all getting to. All right, it says, well, let me read this in the NLT. Everyone, verse 16, everyone there will stare at you and ask, can this be the one who shook the earth, who made the kingdoms of the world to tremble? Right? So this is what these nations are saying. Like, bro, what you the one that's destabilizing all these nations. You the one causing the problems in the earth. You the greatest threat to humanity on the earth, bro. Like, how long are you gonna keep doing this shit, man? All right, what is it? How long him that laid himself with thick clay? We can read that as well too. But this is, to the point where they at right about now, man. They starting to look at you. Verse 16 in KJV, it says, "They that see thee shall nearly look upon thee and consider thee." All right, they considering thee. Look, but we see a lot of evil and violence. But could it be that you the center of all of this shit? Are all of our problems? Are you the source of really all of the problems of all of the people? You say it was this. You say it was that. You say Russia was the aggressor. You say, like, everybody was believing Russia was the aggressor and Russia invaded Ukraine and everything. But how conveniently, since Russia didn't invade Ukraine, that America and their Western allies have been resupplying to Ukraine ever since, even to the point of bankrupting their own economies, man. Like, this wasn't pre-planned. You see what I'm saying? But hey, this this is what you got going on, man. All right. It says they that made the world a wilderness and destroy. Let me just read from the top. They verse 16. They that see thee shall nearly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. And so, hey, as everything, once the smoke clears and everything else like that, and the story is fully told, if it's ever fully told, they're gonna be like, look, Ukraine is a fucking desolation because America decided to go over there and overthrow their government and wage a war on their land to steal their resources, i.e., the oil that's in the ground, right? Same with Iraq. Iraq is a fucking heap of trash with all kind of shit going on over there because America decided to go over there and overthrow Saddam Hussein and steal their oil. But wait, Saddam Hussein was a mass murderer. He was a dictator. He was an evil person. You didn't have terrorists in the Middle East on fire when Saddam Hussein was alive. No matter how good or how bad the man was, it's way worse now, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, the way that they have things going is bad right now. Yeah, but let these niggas get in control. Things that got 1,000 times worse. Hey, just like here in Babylon, right? People was all pissed when your boy Trump was in office, but it's got to be way worse now when you had people who was calling Trump a racist, a bigot, and all kind of shit like this, a pea grabber, right? All these different things. He grabbing cat and shit. You got motherfucking women like this who was, how dare he grab some cat, begging for this nigga to come back now. That's how you know that the nigga that you got in charge now is way worse than the guy that you was complaining about before, right? This is where we at right about now, man. All right, so hey, Babylon the Great or America is being called out for its wickedness, man. All right. What is that? I just quoted something. Or Habakkuk. Yeah, this is a good one to read as well too because it shows how it's going to end. All right, and we see this is all forming up. Habakkuk 2:5. Yea, also because he transgresses by wine. Yeah, we're here to help out everybody. We're here for humanitarian aid, to equal the playing field, to stop evil tyrants and dictators from overthrow. Like, bro, Russia has been more than generous, all right, to these people over there, man. All right, he ain't decided to use these big ass bombs and shit that he got to just annihilate everything that's over there, right, and just kill up all his people. And you know what I'm saying? He ain't decided to do all that, man. He's been at the table for peace talks, peace talks, peace talks, peace talks. Hey, been asking for these things the whole time. But what does Zelensky do? Sign, in the law that he can't by law negotiate with Russia. You see what I'm saying? America, nah, we don't want no negotiation. We don't want no peace talks. Everybody else, all these other neutral countries, whether it be even NATO countries like Turkey, all right, or these other neutral countries trying to be a mediator to this. And America's like, nah, there's no mediation, no peace, no negotiation, man. We got to have regime change in Russia. Vladimir's Putin can no longer be in charge of Russia after this is all said and done. All right, just wanting to steal this man's land and resources, man, and overthrow it, just like you overthrow all these other nations. They don't give a damn about the people over there. They just want the resources, man. All right, look at what they did to Afghanistan. Look what they did to Iraq. Look what they did to Libya. Look what they did, what they try to do with Syria. Look what they trying to do with Venezuela. They don't give a damn about the people. They just want the resources, man. All these nations I done name all have a resource that America make bank off of right now, man. All right, the opioids in Afghanistan, the oil in Iraq, the oil that's going over to Europe from the Ukraine, and you got the oil and the water that's coming up out of Libya. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but the opioids or the poppy fields in Afghanistan to bring the drugs that all these Edomites is all these base heads over here in America is all hooked on these damn prescription pills. That's what the fuck they in Afghanistan for. So see, America goes over here and destabilize these nations just for the resources, man. All right. It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man and neither keepeth at home. All right. Always on the other side of the globe. All right. America is in more countries than you have these other countries and any other countries combined. All right. America's in way more countries than all these other countries. Like all these countries, you got one country involved in another country. So those two countries together, plus these three countries together. So that's 5 together. America's in more countries than all these other countries combined, man. All right. It says, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man and neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire is hell, and his death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And the point of doing that, like I said, is to gather the resources from up under these people. It's not the fact that he just want to live symbiotically with everybody singing kumbaya. No, he want them resources, man. All right, it ain't about you. It ain't about democracy to the people. It's about those resources, man. If America really cared about the well-being of the Ukrainians and stuff, they would have been like, all right, we need to negotiate with Russia as quick as possible, come to a peaceful resolution, not keep arming them, which keep turning them into targets, man. All right. If anything, this is a reverse play of what you would normally do by going over there and you bombing the country and you deciding to rebuild the country. What you over here doing is, hey, you going over there and like basically, fucking up somebody else's land, or you just got your weapons over. Just call it what it is. You got your weapons over there, and having Russia destroy the land over there, which Russia really don't want to destroy the land because it's part of their own shit, right? You got Russia over here destroying the land, and then what you gonna say? Oh, we're gonna force Russia to pay reparations to rebuild Ukraine for its whatever it's done, and if not, we'll just wind up America. What they plan is, because this is also their plan, is to sit there and loan so much money to Ukraine and they can never pay it back, and then they give them a what do they call it, a landlocked lease, and they put a permanent military base over there. All right, so when it's time to launch war against Russia, they got a base right there on their border, man. All right. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and how long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, all this here debt that you are accumulating with your military spending, how much you spend for your military year after year after year, and all this money spending sending over to Ukraine. Meanwhile, America is falling apart, man. You got trains derailing, buildings and pipelines exploding, all right, highways and bridges collapsing, people over here starving, people losing jobs, inflation skyrocketing, your dollars coming back, people can't afford your food, people getting laid off, companies and Walmarts and McDonald's and shit closing down. Meanwhile, you sending billions of dollars to, well, in the name of Ukraine, is coming back and just lining your pockets, man. So you don't give a damn about the people over there. You don't give a damn about the people over here. You only in it for your own best interest, man. All right. It says, let me read this in verse or in NLT verse 7. Suddenly your debtors will take action and will turn on you and take all that you have while you stand trembling and helpless. And we're looking at the formation of this here prophecy taking place, which you have with the BRICS nations and all these other nations that are dumping the American dollar, man. All right, because ultimately they're holding American cash, that's holding American debt. But once they get rid of all that and these other nations start doing transactions, all right, into how do I say, into their own currencies and things like that, they're gonna be stuck with this American dollar. They're gonna want that back. They're gonna want something for that money back. And this ain't worth shit no more, man. We want we want to trade this out for something. You know how you be at a store? Well, at least give us store credit, give us a gift card, give us something. You're gonna have to do something, bro. You go to a restaurant or something, and then like, nah, this ain't right. Y'all gonna have to either give me my money back, or we can't refund you your money. Well, y'all better give me store credit. Y'all better give me something. Y'all better give me some Amazon cards. Y'all better give me something for what I got, man. We want that money back, man. All right. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, and because of men's blood and for the violence of the land and of the city and all that dwell therein. Now think of the sentiment of the people, like I said, that's protesting in the Czech Republic, the people that's protesting in France, how the EU and all these people in these nations are feeling after this energy crisis and things like that. You have some of them protesting, some of them that feel the same way but haven't started protesting. What do you think the sentiment is going to be when they get fed up with all this shit, man? What do you think that they're going to do? Forgive America? Or like, you know what? Enough is enough, man. They're going to stand up and, like the scriptures say, they're going to hate the whore and burn her flesh and eat her, burn her and eat her flesh, roughly paraphrasing, burn her with fire and eat her flesh. But nevertheless, we see, again, like Habakkuk say, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Well, actually, this is the same damn chapter right here. Matter of fact, let's just read it. Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. All right, let me read that NLT. The vision is for a future time. It describes the end. It will be fulfilled. All right, this is how it's being fulfilled right now. If it seems slow in coming, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. And that's where we at right now. We seeing this here prophecy take place. All right, boy, I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And citation and much love for your Akim pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.